So this will be a more interesting video than my other videos, but before I start, this video contains mentions of blackmailing, suicide, and depression. And this isn't meant to talk ill about the person who was rude to me, but I will surely start getting annoyed about this person the more the video moves on. So this summer I went to a summer camp dedicated to playing music for 2 weeks, and that means I have to sleep there for 2 weeks. Ain't that great? When I first arrived at my dorm room, I was greeted by 3 other people. They were all pretty chill, we had a lot of things in common, and it seemed like I would get along great with these people. That is until one day my roommate brought in this girl from another dorm that I'll name Autumn because that was the first name I thought when I first saw her. Autumn changed dorms after the first night due to her roommate snacking on candy and talking too much while she was trying to sleep, which at that time was understandable. Before this, my friend had already introduced me to this girl before. She had the same interests as me, she was a year older than me, but she had to redo her grade. She liked anime quite a lot, and she brought a manga with her and she liked to draw. We helped her move in her stuff, and the first impression this girl made when she said doled in on her bed was a massive like right behind me. She started apologizing a lot, and I didn't mind it and went on with my camp, not thinking much of it. The first few days I hang out with this girl, she was pretty chill. She was this shy anime softie dweeb who always wore hoodies of anime she liked. She was mostly a regular person in my opinion, but she would do weird things. Like this one time she brought crackers in the room even though we weren't allowed to be snacking, and instead of putting them in the trash can, she just shoved them in the tissue box. Another time she tapped me on the shoulder and shoved a cracker in my face, and when I asked her if she wanted anything, she just said she wanted to show me a cracker. Now, this girl had like ADHD, dyslexia, and dysgraphia, and she had to take this medicine often, but she always forgot. She told us this the minute she moved in, and so when she did all these weird things, I just put up with it because, well, she had those conditions. It wouldn't be nice of me if I didn't just put up with it. I'm just saying this now in case it had something to do with all she did before, but I don't really think so. She started getting really weird on like the 4th day of camp when she started to ramble about the school system trying to control us and that we're living in a simulation and that we're just here to live until we die. I said nothing about it because this wasn't any of my business, but then at that afternoon, after band practice, she came crying to me and my friend that one of the kids sitting next to her in the band yelled at her for complaining about not wanting to play music even though this was music camp. What do you expect? Obviously, we comforted her and stuff like that, but after that, she started to get even more annoying to me. Once she asked me if I could wake her up by the time I wake up, because I wake up really, really early, and I said yes because she kept on asking me, Padma, can you wake up at 6:30 since you always wake up at that time? Okay. Padma, wake me up before breakfast, okay? Yeah, I already said yes. Padma, can you wake me up at 7? I don't want to be late for breakfast. I like taking my time eating. Yes. Padma, yes, I'll wake you up early, okay? This girl squirreled after trying to annoy me to wake her up early. Another time she kept calling my name for whatever favor, even though she was within my bubble, and I said yes about 3 times louder and louder, but she kept calling me. Of course, I yelled the 4th time and she squealed again. The next day, Autumn accumulated a heat stroke and had to stay in bed for the whole day and couldn't go home. I, trying to be the good friend, did everything in my power to make sure she was okay due to me feeling bad for her. I filled her water bottle, stayed with her while the others went to have breakfast, ideally having to eat faster to check up on her, carried her band instruments so it wasn't too heavy, and gave her my hat so the heat stroke wouldn't get worse when she was forced to go outside. Even with that, she still found reasons to be a problem around the dorm. She would always leave her tissues anywhere but the trash can, the floor, the table, our suitcases, even our beds. When we tell her to throw them away, she would say it wasn't her tissues, even though she was the only person who was blowing her nose, or say that it's not her fault, which had nothing to do with her not throwing her tissues in the trash. On cleaning day, I did not only have to sweep the floors and throw out the trash once, but twice, due to us keep finding tissues on the floors and having to throw them away because she kept throwing them on the floor, and then we still got a singular tissue on the floor as our status report on cleaning day. When she felt better, she started to complain about every single thing and like gossip about behind people's back. Like, I don't care that some autistic kid from the bases isn't fit to watch over kids as a future camp counselor. Let him do what he wants. Of course, I didn't actually say that. I was like, have you met the guy? You don't know for sure if he's unfit to watch kids. No, but he's still autistic. The kids are going to be afraid of him. She also became obsessed with these rules about how good friends are supposed to act. So when I told her to stop speaking ill about this autistic guy who she's never met before, she started to whine and say that good friends are supposed to hear out their friends when they want to gossip behind people's backs. At that point, I left. Another time, her and my roommates were arguing because she was leaving tissues on the floors again. I did not want to deal with this drama because it was 7 in the morning, so I grabbed my book and left to the foyer of the residence. Once I came, I started to have a chat with this guy from the male side of the dormitories, and then she enters the foyer and asks me why I left the dorm. And I answer saying that I didn't want to deal with my roommates arguing at 7 in the morning because it's too early. Listen, the whole reason why I came to this camp was to continue doing what I like, touch grass, and get away from everything that made me feel like a dump because my mentality was at its lowest for quite a while. I was too tired to be the therapist friend of everybody again. This was supposed to be my vacation. Of course, I was aware that there were going to be annoying people, so my plan was just to avoid them. Autumn just looked at my response and said, "You're insecure about what other people think of you." I never mentioned anything of that sort. How does me wanting to avoid negativity related to me being worried about what other people think of me? I answered her calmly by saying no and that she had the wrong idea, and she just left. Me and the boy looked at each other weirded out. The next day, we were all having breakfast together, and Autumn asks us, "Guys, what would you do if your man cheated on you?" All my friends answered to this question normally, and me, being the comedic friend I always try to be, said, "This is a joke, but I'd whack him with a frying pan." All my friends found this funny, but Autumn found this like a massive issue and asked me why would I want to hit a man with a frying pan? Violence isn't the answer. Me and my friends found this weird, but I just told her I was just trying to be funny and I wouldn't actually hit a man with a frying pan if he cheated on me. Which, by the way, was an awfully weird question to ask, considering we're all kids between 7th to 9th grade. That's just probably because I don't really think about my future romantic relationships, but anyway, this girl looked at me and said, "Padma, I'm trying to understand why you're acting this way. I don't know what mental disorder you have, but you're not okay. I'm just trying to help and understand you." How did she come to that conclusion? How did me making a single joke label me as mentally unstable? I was like, obviously very disturbed by this and told her to not get the wrong idea and that I was just joking, but she was like, no, Padma, you need help. I can help you with your problems. If you just start confiding me and telling me what's wrong, like, I appreciate you wanting to help me, but I don't have any problems related to my mental health whatsoever that I told you about, let alone would want to tell you about. At that point, I left the cafeteria as fast as I could due to feeling so uncomfortable. When she came back to the room, she asked me why did I leave and that good friends are supposed to be there for each other and ready to confide in others. She also said that I can't just keep avoiding my problems just because I was too scared to vent to her about my mental state. I don't know how this girl became so convinced that I need mental help because I kept telling her that she was just creating problems and that I wasn't actually mentally unstable. She just kept insisting that I had some sort of mental disorder, and even my roommates told her to back off and leave me alone, but she was like, "No, good friends are supposed to confide in each other. She's just avoiding all her problems because she's insecure." Autumn then started to cry about how nobody likes her and that she wishes that everybody would have some faith in her. She then went on her bed and started to blow her nose and stuff, and I want to leave, but I knew she would just scream at me whether if I left or not. This girl continued to tell me that she wanted to help me even though there was nothing that I needed help for. She said, because of you, this might be a reason why I want to kill myself. People who don't trust me make me want to kill myself. Nobody loves me. I'll end up in depression and die alone. Why can't you trust me? I'm gonna kill myself. Okay, so not only was this girl trying to accuse me of having mental problems, but she was also trying to blackmail me so I could vent to her. Like, girl, I don't have mental issues I told you about, but if I did, I don't think blackmailing me is going to get me to confide in you. This made me extremely uncomfortable, and even one of my roommates was there to hear that, but she didn't want to get involved in the drama, which is understandable. So the best thing you should do in this situation is tell an adult, but because I'm stupid, I did not tell an adult because I feared that it would make the situation worse, but I really do regret it. Even though she apologized to me for saying that, after that, I started to avoid her like she was the Black Plague itself. I started to hang out with other people and left her with one of my other friends. Okay, I didn't script this, but I think it's important to mention that I don't know if she said that because of bad intention, or if she was actually trying to be mean to me, or she was just a person that really needed help or anything. But at the same time, I don't think so, because after that, one of my friends trusted her enough to tell her about her problems, and she started to laugh at her and then spread rumors. And another time, one of my roommates started to have a panic attack in the middle of the night, and then she told them to shut up and stop. So I actually think she actually tried to do something bad to me, and I'm glad that I avoided it, but still. And I'll think I'll wrap it up at that. If this video gets popular, I will make a part 2 of this girl. Maybe part 3 and 4, since I'm gonna see her next year too. Okay, this video is long enough. It's gonna be torture animating this. Bye!